still in the Palm Springs. So
Oh,
I'll
you
be on the
suck.
road. Yeah. True. And in all forms.
Present.
Not for my sister to tell me yesterday I have a strong neck too. My sister tried to
Wow.
call me a whole lot. She was like, brother, your neck looks real strong today. I was like,
It's like, I don't know how to take that. I don't know how to take
I was
that.
like, thanks.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So I see you working out in the
now,
gym. I'm like, so what you think I'm doing in the gym, girl? If you got, I said I got a strong neck. Like, I was like, okay.
a strong neck can be used in more than just the gym.
Okay. Look, keep the lights on.
Now that
Let
I
me
know,
fix your internet. Let me go get your internet fixed for you. I'll be right back, girl.
You do the church finger. You get the church finger out. You're like, okay, bye,
right,
girl.
right. Hey, aunties, this is Raven from the Healing Space Podcast. What's brewing today?
Introducing Auntie Apple Martini.
Porsha, Porsha, Porsha.
And ask your aunties. I'm single and he's taken. So get your cups ready for Minoritea Report.
Well, hey, welcome to Minority Report. It's Auntie Carell.
Auntie Dwan.
And Auntie Jarrell.
Hey, how y'all doing today?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right. You know, a little purse workout glow. You know, she got her chest is out today.
Oh, you got them titties up. Okay, girl.
No,
I
it's a
see
little
you.
something, you know.
Okay.
It's a little something.
Yeah, let's give us a little shoulder action. I love it, mama.
She acting like there ain't no pandemic going on.
Hey, I'm just working out. I'm ready. So when we're able to open up, she gonna step out.
I know that's right. And then if you also hear a little chuckling in the background, we have a fourth auntie today, and we'll let him introduce his guest auntie name first. And what's your
This
guest
is
auntie?
Auntie Apple Martini.
Ooh.
Guys, come on now. I want to drink. I want to drink so bad. I got to work after this, so she only got water today. But that apple martini sounds so good.
Right?
And I'm sipping on one right now.
Okay.
Oh, see, come on now.
How do you make your apple martini?
So this is actually a lemon apple martini.
Oh, I haven't heard that one.
Right. So I use lemonade, simply lemonade, green apple Ciroc, and what's the other thing? It's some red type situation I put in it. The name completely. But I don't know if you can see it through the camera. It's like red all in there.
Okay, look like
Grenadine. Struggling on today.
I mean, I might drink a little something in my life. You
know? Yeah, come on, titties. Tell me about it, titties.
Jarrell pulls it out from the side camera like, is it grenadine? Is it this?
Right?
Maybe this is what you're talking about.
Right. And Dewan, you must be typing something. We hear
because we can hear all of it.
Click.
Here I am. I'm trying to get myself together. What's that chick, the ASMR girl should be up there like?
Yes, with the long nails.
Or the click. And I was like, okay, go ahead. Put your 100 words per minute.
I'm trying to get my notes together, girl.
Come on, Mavis Beacon over there.
Right.
It's already been a struggle. She got the brown liquor today.
There we go.
Woo.
I know that's right. I know I'm giving my liver a break after vacay. I was like, no mas.
She looked good in vacay.
Oh, it looked good on me. It was everything. It was so necessary. It was so
Hold
necessary.
on. Can I just throw some shine on you, Carell, because your body is looking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, buddy.
She was showing it all off. I saw her out there in the ocean with her little caftan,
Yes,
just showing them thighs, and then let me give you the back shot.
Right,
Let me give you the legs. Let me
Not
show
for her
you
to
the
be laying
feet.
in the water. Not for her to be laying in the water, bitch. Okay. I was like, okay, Ariel, come on.
Right?
Ariel.
Right?
I was living for it. But I just want to listen. I'm gonna give you your flowers while you were still alive, girl. You looking cute. Yes.
It was everything. But here's the crazy thing, though. They had a 9 p.m. curfew. So it's like you go all the way down there. And hold on, let me back up. Then it was the blackest island on earth. Every black person from the mainland was in Puerto Rico. I swear to God.
Hell yes.
Swear to
Hell
God.
yes.
Like blackity
Hell
black,
yes.
black. Like I thought I
Was
was in
there
Atlanta
something
still.
going on?
Edge. I think everyone was trying to get out the mainland, and it was Mother's Day weekend. So I'm thinking it had some of that, and flights were a little cheaper. Hotel lodging was a little cheaper. So
So were they
everybody just
black
came.
with their mamas?
Some like some had their little kids out in the ocean and everything, girl. And I was like, y'all can't tell us we ain't out here swimming because we all out here in this ocean.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll cut up with Rhonda. It'll be me. I'll be out there in Puerto Rico with my mama.
I'm just trying to figure this out though, because Puerto Rico is like, I've been to Puerto Rico. I've been all over the island, and I absolutely love it.
Oh,
and
has she?
Girl, how many times do I have to tell you?
You
She
right.
has lived.
You right.
She has lived, and she continues to live.
I know. And that
Nice.
too.
And she
Okay?
continues to live.
Continues to live.
I hear that.
I ain't dead.
But like every
Right.
time I go down there, I like, you just don't see a lot of like black people.
Exactly.
You see darker skin, Puerto Ricans for
right.
sure, but you don't see a lot. Like
Nope.
every once in a while you'll run into like, there's like a couple or whatever. So like, and in my experience, family, friends, etc., that is not a destination place where a lot of black people go. So I'm just trying to figure out.
I know. Like literally, like, because this is my third or fourth time going down there, and I said the same thing. I was like, what's going on? And the locals were commenting.
Like, what in the Dave Chappelle is going on?
And not all of them were happy about it.
I'm sure.
Because, when you get a lot of us, sometimes we turn up and we get a little too lit.
Sometimes.
But wait a minute. But I mean, listen, the island people, not just Puerto Rico, but like all the islands they're turn up islands. This is where like
they wasn't ready for the black mainland turn up.
Now wait a minute.
Now Medea's family reunion.
Girl. Like it felt like because even when we came back yesterday, so like obviously we're recording earlier in the week for next week's episode, but we ran into another person from Atlanta, like a lady and her husband and I think her kid was probably like around 4 or 5 years old, and we're like, oh, where you from? They're like, God, what area? I forgot, outside of the city. And we're like, oh, we're from Atlanta too. Like, it was crazy. And it was like a lot of people from New York and a lot of people from Philly. Like everyone we asked, like in the elevator or just like in the restaurant or wherever, those seem to be the predominant areas that were down there. So
It probably was so many people there because they were tired of Tulum. Everybody and their great grandmother was going to Tulum. It's like, okay, we've worn this part of Mexico out. We're all just going to go to Puerto Rico now. So
that part.
It seems like everyone's escaped because on the West Coast, everyone's going to Hawaii. So like everyone is like Hawaii.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I would go to Hawaii too.
I still haven't been yet. I'm ready.
Me either.
I'm ready.
I haven't been.
Ready. And just hopefully they don't have a 9 p.m. curfew, because literally at 9 p.m. we were like, what do we? And literally you had to like plan your dinner differently. You had to plan everything, because like say you want to be out at the beach until like 5 o'clock. Then you go take you a little like nap or something, shower, get fresh. You're like, oh shit, we gotta hurry up, because by the time you get a seat and get through drinks and dinner, it literally, they were like snatching drinks out your hand at like 8:15, 8:30.
Wow. And the killer part about Puerto Rico is, or with a lot of the islands, but especially in Puerto Rico, they're on Puerto Rico time. So when you go out to dinner, they be taking like, you'll sit down and it'll be 45 minutes before somebody come back to you and ask you if you want some water.
Wow.
And then when you ask for that water, they may come back with some water. The water won't have any ice in it, and that's okay. But then they will leave, and then it's almost like they leave to go shopping, and then they come back, and then they're like, what do you want to eat? It's like the meals are like 4 hours long, because
they're like, we ain't got shit else to do, we ain't got nowhere else to go, we stuck on this island, so you gonna be chilling. You sit your butt down right there.
So they just salsa on over to your table, and they take their stuff right out your hands and salsa all back. Like, you gotta go.
So that was the only thing. That was the only thing that was like maybe not annoying, because you can't help it. It's COVID. They're like literally I still had to get COVID tested to go, You had to upload it to a server. You had to download a QR code that you got. When you landed at the airport, you could not get out the airport without going through like these dudes in like hazmat fits. Show your QR.
Okay.
Right. Well, someone was fine though.
You said hazmat, and I was like, oh, okay, never mind.
Someone was fine. And then that's how you were able to get out. And then if you couldn't prove that you got a COVID test 72 hours before, like it was a $300 fine, then you had to quarantine for 14 days. So they ain't playing down there. They are not playing in Puerto Rico at all. Like it's the most strict that I have felt, because you know, Raven would know Atlanta been wide ass open from gay.
Listen, maybe we closed everything down for a week.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Like, there might have been like 2 weeks, and when like the end of March, maybe the beginning of April, and then this bitch was wide ass open.
Wide open.
So it was the most protocol I've had to do throughout this whole quarantine.
Yeah.
You know, I say my ass at home those times, but literally it was wild. But it was much needed. But we'll get to you now, Raven. Sorry.
Yeah.
You know, just had to talk about Puerto Rico though.
Can I just say real quick though, like as we transition to Raven, like you and I've been like talking for like months in anticipation of getting to this moment.
This, yes.
And
When we first agreed to it, it felt like it was going to be forever away. Forever.
And then I blinked, and it was like, "Oh, he gonna be over here tomorrow. Let me go ahead and make sure he has."
It's true. Like I'm like, how is it mid-May? Like, where they do that at?
How? And June is right around the corner.
Yeah.
It's Pride Month, like tomorrow.
On our neck, like right here. Right.
Sheesh.
So I just want to say I'm so glad that you're here. The times that we were just talking and whatnot and getting to know each other has just been, it's like a brotherhood. Like
absolutely.
It's just and when I walked in, because y'all, the listeners don't know that there's always a podcast before the podcast. Right. and I was running late because I was working, and y'all were all getting into it, and I was just like, I'm so glad that the vibe was just there. So I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for coming.
Thinking that when you came on, I saw you come on, and all three of us were in the middle of laughing, and I was like, well, he sees that I get along with everybody.
Absolutely. And I mean, and if anything, you need to watch this on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell and all that good shit, because his beard is so crispy. His beard is crispy.
And I still want. I'm now that I saw you with this hat on, you have now confirmed I could buy my purchase today, because I was gonna buy a red one, and I was like, you know what? It's my spirit. It's not on my spirit. It's not on my spirit. But look,
now
look at God. He was like, "Oh, you need that hat." See,
I'm on this episode for several reasons.
Absolutely,
and that's number one, the hat.
He's like, "Okay, I'm done. I did what needed to be done."
Oh man, but Raven's from the Healing Space podcast.
Yes.
So how long have you had this podcast, and how did it come about?
The Healing Space premiered September 19th, 2017.
Nice.
And it came about because when I lived up north in the DMV, there was an event that I would put on, a wellness event called the Healing Space. And I would bring people together for a sort of group catharsis. And the way that we would do it is that we would have an artist come to perform. You could be a singer, hip hop artist, rapper, spoken word artist, whatever. And we would have a specific theme geared toward you. So like our very first person that came, she was known around, the spoken word scene for having issues with her dad. So that was the thing we were going to try to tackle. And for the first hour, we tackled that for her. So she would do 4 pieces, and every time she would stop, the audience would ask her questions dealing with her relationship with her dad. So this provided an opportunity for her to kind of purge those feelings. So after that first hour, we turned it on the audience, and we began to then ask them questions about the exact same topic or anything they want to talk about, so they could have their own catharsis. So it started there. When I moved to Atlanta, I was like, I feel like they may not be ready for something like this down here. So
you're right.
I used to be on the radio in Baltimore, and people kept saying to me, you should go back to the radio. So I was like, you know what? The next best thing is a podcast.
Yeah.
So I love the mind. I love mental health and everything around wellness. So I said, why not make a podcast geared toward that? But let's make it queer. So,
Ow.
Amen.
Yes. I know that's right. And speaking of mental health, it's Mental Health Awareness Month right now.
absolutely.
So throughout, I guess even just like COVID, obviously this whole last year has been a zoo. It's
Yeah.
been wild. What have you found that you've had to purge in this last year that you're like, I'm carrying a lot from this last year? Is there stuff that you've had to purge last year, or you're like, I have the tools that have allowed me to make it through this last year?
So I like that last part that you said, because that's what I had to do. It was less purging, more so finding more tools. I now have a therapist and a psychiatrist, and I talk about it openly on the podcast. And to my surprise, when I began, especially the psychiatrist piece, when I began to talk about that, you're amazed at how many people come out, like, I was afraid to talk about this. But now that you've given me an opportunity and I feel more comfortable, I can talk about it as well. So for that reason, I talk about it more on the podcast, because I'm not big on the shame. It's enough, where I working with my kids, they feel shame because all of them have different mental health issues. So they feel like they're not seen. So I talk to them about my own. My supervisors aren't big on it, but I'm like, they relate to you more, they're more open to you. You feel me?
Absolutely.
So that's the conversations that we have via that. But those are the tools that I've been using. It's really helped to get me through the pandemic, having a therapist and a psychiatrist, and taking what it is, the conversations that I have with them helps me to feel better about me being a life coach and what I give to my kids. So it's a combination of both. Getting the help from them and then knowing that I'm able to help my kids have all really helped me with my mental health and through the pandemic. And
I think we lost you on that
We
last
lost that volume.
Yeah.
She said, and I came and I did what needed to be
conquered.
done.
Yeah. Let's see here. Is she frozen now?
no, I'm giving this whole thing a side eye right now.
Okay.
We had a whole conversation before we hopped on. He had just got new Wi-Fi yesterday from Xfinity down in Atlanta, and they be playing.
Listen.
Out here playing too much.
Like, here we go.
Quick little tip, just technology wise. If you're going with like their Wi-Fi router or whatever, it may not be the best quality. So even though you may be paying for high quality Wi-Fi, your router might be the barrier. So you might want to think about getting another Wi-Fi router. And I have a suggestion if you need one that will work.
Absolutely. Come on.
Come on.
That's what I'm talking about.
Technology.
Technology.
Yes.
So
I just went through this whole. Just as an aside, like continue with it. I just went through this whole thing where like we updated all of our lights to all of these like all of our lights are managed through an app, and we did update our Wi-Fi connection throughout the entire house, and so like I have all this newfound information that I'm just waiting to share.
We love it. Yes.
We're gonna have the Juan's technology corner.
Right.
It'll be short. It'll be the shortest conversation.
I just want to know where this information was in January when a girl was struggling.
You was struggling.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But she had nothing to do with that though. They just didn't show.
That was a whole other situation.
Right.
They had you waiting all day. We'll be there between Tuesday and Saturday, the 27th of September.
Girl, right. Found out. Oh, you don't have an appointment with us. Bitch, you emailed me. Don't. I haven't healed yet. I'm still finding my tools. Okay.
That's what you had to. Right, you had to purge that.
Yep.
So like for folks that are looking for like a therapist or a psychiatrist and things like that, how can they find, especially people of color and Black communities, how can they find one within that community easily, or is it not easy?
Well, it's all according. Like, I am a big proponent, of telling people about Talkspace. And that's something that on the Read they promote a lot as well, but it's true. Talkspace works for a lot of people, and for me, what is the website that I went through for my therapist? Is it therapy.org? I have to get back to you guys so that maybe you can mention it on the next episode.
Absolutely.
But what I love about the website that I used is that when I went there, it was very much like, I tell people it's kind of like a therapist Chipotle, where you go into Chipotle and you can choose exactly what you want. What I loved about the website is that you could literally pick all the way down to religion. You know,
wow.
like you could say it's, I want somebody who's queer. I want somebody who's Black. I want somebody who's Buddhist, you know, and you can do all of this stuff, or at the very least an ally to us.
Right.
And you can choose all of that, and then they'll decide and they'll bring up for you who all of the choices are. So,
and what website was that again?
He was gonna give us to
don't
us.
don't do that.
Right,
You made it
right,
worse.
right.
Like it's bad enough I can't remember.
We got Carmen, we got Electra over here.
Right.
Right. Ignorant.
Love it. That's so good. And then another thing I see on your social media is you be doing yoga too.
Yes, I'm a yoga instructor.
Woo,
Yes.
Jesus, like that's the last time I did yoga was, remember P90X?
Oh my Lord.
And they had like the yoga series or something like that too, or the yoga day.
Yeah. So here's the deal. My yoga isn't too far from that.
Okay.
So I like for people to know that ahead of time. My yoga, now mind you, I love for everything to be beautiful. I consider my yoga, everything is done like water, so it flows. However, I believe meditation is for relaxing. I feel like yoga is for fitness.
Got it.
So with yoga, I'm all about toning up the body. And I have a lot of students who come into it thinking that, oh, this is going to be pretty. No, you're going to put in work and you're going to sweat. Yeah.
She put that Tiffany Pollard emphasis on that K.
Right.
This is going to be work.
Period. Right.
It's funny you said that because my friends used to tell me that I over enunciate everything. So if you listen to the podcast, you'll hear that regularly. I'm like, I can't help it.
I love the sound, the tenor, the cadence of your voice. Mm-hmm. It's so full. And I don't know if you've never heard that before, but like just as a listener, listening to you talk about, you know, just everything that you're talking about in terms of like your own personal experience, and as you're delving into experience with others, there is just such a fullness within like your spirit that comes through your voice that I love it.
Thank you.
I agree with that statement. And I was listening to the March 31st episode on the plane ride yesterday. Yeah, the one with the waves at the beginning. And I was like, oh, I'm leaving the waves. It damn made me mad. I was like, oh, I'm on here leaving the waves, and then I'm listening to more damn waves on this damn plane.
Started the episode pissed off. See, that's not what we're there for.
Right? Like, damn, I thought this was a healing space. Oh man! So, like, you've done it for 3 or almost damn near 4 years of podcast. Yeah. What is something that you've learned doing this podcast that you did not know you were going to learn going through this journey?
What is something that I started off because I used to own my own magazine, and back then I felt as though everything that I needed to do was with a team. Mm-hmm. You know, I can't get anything done unless I have a bunch of people working for me. One of the things that I've learned about this podcast, I can do a lot alone.
Yeah.
I really can. And it's something I wouldn't necessarily say that I feared, but I was apprehensive. You know, I was like, I don't know how these things will turn out, because I admit, you know, with no pause, there are a lot of things I don't know, you know? So I'm like, I don't know how it's going to turn out. I've been struggling even with the damn flyer for almost 4 years. I can't get the right flyer. And then last week, when I had my episode with my friend Hari Ziad, I was just playing around online and I created this border around my picture. And I was like, ta-da, damn guy. Like, I'm not doing nothing fancier than that. That border's going to be perfect. Like,
damn guy.
Right. So that's the main thing that I've taken from it, you know, over this journey, is that there is a lot that I can do by myself. And I mean, with me doing it all by myself, it's made for some great interviews, you know? And speaking of which, I'm looking forward to you guys on Sunday. So, yeah.
That's right. That's right. We're going to be on there, booze. Oh man. So like we kind of like also want to kind of get a couple of your thought processes on like some of these topics that are in the news right now. And one that's like has the internet and Twitter going crazy right now is Porsha Williams. And who doesn't know Porsha Williams is old girl from Atlanta Housewives, has now gotten engaged to a fellow castmate's ex-husband after a month. I'm laughing because it's crazy.
It's a whole mess.
And she's putting out there, hey, love is love, and let me be happy, and things like that. So I wanted to ask y'all, A, could you get engaged in a month? B, could you get engaged in a month to your fellow, like, friends, ex? And then C, put it out there on social media like it's all cool, cool and gravy? Yeah, it's a lot.
That's
wow.
Messy. That's just
That's
too messy. Like, why are you starting your marriage off like that? Like, that's
right. Right.
The killer part about it is because I've been watching the Housewives since forever. I did take a hiatus for I think 2 or 3 seasons, and that they brought me back. I just I need to have melanin in my TV watching routine, so I had to.
So you went to the Atlanta Housewives.
I went to the Housewives. Look, I wasn't going to the haves and the have-nots. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I hope we don't lose any sponsorship opportunities.
Right. I know that's Tyler Perry. That was Dewan.
I'm just saying, look, and if it makes you feel better, I just started Sisters just because of what's his name. So just because of White Side.
So when this news broke, I was just like, wait, who is this chick? Fallon, who is this? I'm racking my brain trying to figure out who this chick was. Meanwhile, this chick was in 2 episodes of this past season.
Yeah.
And
a friend of the cast.
The gag is a friend of the cast, and the gag is it's still unclear how, like, if they were really friends, or if this was a hired relationship just to bring some tomfoolery to the show or whatever. Absolutely. But it's still messy as hell.
Right.
Let me add something to this too, though. It came on like later tonight or this evening, right before we hopped on to that. It sounds like he got the divorce in like January, and then he was seeing another girl, and now it's Porsha. So like Porsha's not even like the first one, and like I don't know how they all intersect because it's only May. Yeah. But so how do you heal in that space?
Well, the first thing
like he was healing.
Listen, facts, because everybody heals in their own different ways.
Okay.
Like, let's be clear. The first thing I would say kind of goes in line with that. Everybody operates differently. So if these 2 adults are under the impression that we're not operating out of the heteronormative space of the way that marriage is supposed to look, then we're doing our own thing. We got into it quickly. Who knows how it's going to last, but we're going to have fun while we do it. If that's the case, then more power to them, For me, it's difficult for me to even have a one-night stand. So I'm just one of those kind of people that I like to have some type
difficult, but not impossible.
Got it.
Because he would have said, I've never had a one-night
I've
stand.
never.
Well,
you could never. She said, I have a permanent one night stand next to my bed.
Well, yeah, it's like, I'm one of those kind of people that needs to make kind of a connection with somebody. And then, from that connection, I'm like, all right, bet. Then we can go from there. Right. But I'm also super open to the idea of anything. So I'm not one of those kind of people that's going to limit body. Like, I personally can consider it messy, but with me considering it messy, I also make space for you not operating out of a certain way. Like me, I'm very much into open relationships, polyamory, and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. People will give a side out to that in a heartbeat. You feel me?
That's true.
So it's like all of us have our different things and the way that we operate. So I feel like Dewan was getting towards this, or was it Yukarao? Like we don't really know exactly what it is that's going on. And I very much believe a lot of that television type stuff. Like there are all types of things you do to make it juicy, to make it messy. But with that being said, some of these things that are written, sometimes I look at the cast members like, do you really want to go out in public with this storyline? Like people are going to believe this shit. You can just look at Insecure and see how that whole thing happened with Molly. It's like, that's a whole television show. That's like reality TV.
Even what's her other name? Condola?
Yeah.
They were trying to drag that woman for real. Like, that's just a character.
Right.
You're right.
Yeah.
What about, I was just trying to think about this earlier. What about, and this is just a question for everybody, what about what Carell had explained, if you don't know the situation intimately, right? You know, so like, here is a former friend of the cast who was in a relationship, married, living in a house with this guy, according to the TV show, you know, a year ago or whatever. And, you know, they get a divorce at the beginning of this year. And then now she's engaged to this person, which one could only assume that they've only been dating for, you know, a month to 2 months or whatever. My question is, what is the messiest part of it? Is it dipping? Is it the fact that she's rushing to the altar? You know, not she, because I don't want to put the blame on her. Mm-hmm. Is it the fault that that we're upset about, or that we find messy, is that they are going so fast? Or is it the commingling of, you know, the interpersonal relationships? Like, she's now in a relationship, fianced.
Mm-hmm.
I think,
it's a this and that.
What is it?
This
and
that.
It?
It's a this and that. Like, I think it's a little bit of both of it. It's the combo meal. Right, because if it was just one of the two things, like, if she didn't know the girl, then I don't think I would have cared as much. Like, oh, you must really love that person. But because she also knows the girl in to some capacity, we don't know how close or whatever, then it's like, ooh, but that's real fast though. But what about your friend? Like all the questions start coming when you put two and two together. But by themselves,
about your friends,
hey,
will be around.
They snatch your man again.
Has this Fallon person said anything? Like, has she spoken out?
I think she put something on her story saying that me and I forget his name went through a divorce earlier this year, things like that. We ended on neutral terms. Things like that. I think she's trying not to get messy from her angle. And I wouldn't because the internet be dragging.
To me, that feels like,
but it almost feels.
I was just gonna say
a little bit.
Yeah, but if she's not losing it, then why are other people? That always bothers me about society. Like, if the actual person isn't losing their shit, then why are you? You know, because honestly, it's not really your business to be going crazy. You know,
Jack's house.
Okay, you're right. You right.
I think for at least for Porsha's sake, I think the messy part perceptually is like the picture that she put up, how it like came out this past week. It was Mother's Day, so it was Porsha, her daughter, her ex-fiance, and the new fiance in the damn picture, and that's how the world found out. And so everybody was like, "Hold on, ain't that old girl's ex-husband?" And so they like connected the dots, and they're like, "Hold on, time the fuck out! Like, what's going on?" And I think that's why people are like, "Oh, this is extra messy," especially with Porsha's like history on the show. Yeah. They're like, "Damn, girl, like you have a history of getting in relationships quick." For me, I don't give a damn, quite frankly. I just like to read some of the comments, but but then I'm like, it ain't my life. She ain't paying my bills. It ain't doing nothing for me. But it is what it is.
But why is anybody even surprised by her? Isn't she Underground Railroad woman? Like,
oh, okay. Hold on.
She agreed to that storyline. Why is anybody surprised by?
Well, let me course correct a little bit, because she has dedicated all last year to being a woman of the people, you know. So yes, she started from, you know, from meager beginnings as it relates to Black historical context. But she has made tremendous strides in her. Look, I'm just saying. I bet there are great grandkids of I was going to say Malcolm Jamal Warner. I meant Malcolm X.
Stop.
Okay, liquor
we can't say nothing about Porsha. We can't say nothing about Porsha. Never mind.
My backup Jamal Warner.
Oh, we brought that to an end.
Alexa.
That's done.
I would like to apologize for this episode. If you have made it thus far in the episode and you are not drinking, I encourage you to grab yourself a cocktail
on this Monday
enjoy
morning.
The rest of whatever.
Not Malcolm Jamal.
Oh.
Never mind. Sorry, Porsha. You right. Oh, Jesus Lord. Anyway. And one thing also that's kind of been out there that's wild to me is I don't even know how to say his name, but it's like Elareza Fazeli Monferd. He's a 20-year-old guy that lived in Iran that got beheaded by his family for coming out as gay. And so it's just like, you see these moments, especially right before Pride Month, and it's a crazy reality check again that, hold on, right when we think we're getting a little more, I don't know what word I even want, like, I don't even know what word I want, but it's just like, you get these stories. And you're just like,
life is really
we
different.
still got a lot of shit to fight for. Yes, we might be a little more comfortable here in the States, but there's other folks in the world that day in and day out are really fighting for their damn lives to stay alive, for being who they are.
Absolutely.
Look, when it was a little iffy leading up to and in the midst of the election and even after the election, I think I even said on the podcast, like, if old boy got reelected again, I'm moving out of this country, period. Like, there's no discussion. I told my man, I was like, look, you can come with me. Or I can
get you a ticket.
But I'm out of here. And in my mind's eye, I would love, there's this whole exodus that's happening with black celebrities that are moving back. Stevie Wonder's moving to Africa. I think he's moving to Ghana. Don't quote me on that. Ludacris is in Africa, the continent, because it's not a country, it's a continent. I just don't know which country he's in. And Akon is over there in Nigeria, I believe, just like building his empire, etc. So there are a lot of U.S. Black Americans that are moving back to the motherland, and I was just like, in my mind's eye, I was like, I would love to do that, but I can't do that because I can't personally do it because I'm not hiding who I am. I'm not trying to be beheaded with a machete because of I'm trying to date. Like, I would love for there to be a little bit more progressive thinking on the continent of Africa, and I'm sure that there are spots where there might be, but even in like the places that are well known to us as queer individuals, like like South Africa, for example, there is still so much racial tension, that's as part of the fabric there, but if you look at like a country like Morocco, or Egypt, where it's punishable by death to be gay, legally punishable by death, it's like, it's a no for me, dog.
Yeah. My one of my friends, who I consider to be a little brother, he and his fiance, they moved to Cape Town, which is funny enough where I was thinking about moving to. They moved there in December. And so, I'm like, I'm so excited for you. I can't wait. Now I have a place I can stay when I go to visit. Next thing you know, because he's like building his, what is that website called? Clubhouse. He's building his whole Clubhouse empire.
Yeah.
So, he's really making moves on that app. So he's doing big things over there in Cape Town. Next thing you know, he starts posting videos about being harassed by cops. And, he's like, my mind is blown because these cops are all black. And they don't like me because I'm American black.
Yeah.
And so he was like, you come over here thinking you're finally going to get rid of it. I'm away from all of that. And then you find out there's still yet another thing that separates us. And it was very disheartening to watch those videos, because it was one of those situations where he got somebody to hold the camera, as he's arguing back and forth with this cop. And it's like, wow, he really wasn't doing anything. And the way that she was screaming and yelling at him, you would have thought he was trying to hurt somebody. And I was like, that's so sad. It really is.
Damn. It's like,
yeah.
Nowhere.
But he was like, I'm going to keep the faith. I refuse to leave here because this is where I feel like I need to be. It's just unfortunate that when you feel like you're finally getting away from something, it finds you in another form,
But that's his ministry, though. That's his life lesson. That's like he was drawn to, like, and when you remove the personalization out of it and you look at it from an objective perspective, it's like we're put in situations, we're drawn to things that teach us something, to help us level up. Right. So in the spiritual world of how we evolve through this space, the intention is that you level up, that you learn.
Yeah.
And so, maybe his life lesson is for him to be in a situation where, he can impact meaningful change, but also bring awareness, so his struggle might have changed from one form of racism to another form of racism. But, maybe that's also his blessing.
Absolutely. Come on.
Right,
that's what I'm talking about.
Pass the wall.
She can go from Malcolm Jamal Warner to Maya Angelou in a heartbeat. It's gonna be a whole episode today. I'm sorry, y'all.
but like I don't even know who to send condolences to for his death and his beheading, because it's like your family did it. Like
yeah.
That's a whole nother level. It's just like even as bad as things may get of like coming out and things like that, and the horror stories you kind of hear, at least maybe here in the States, no one's getting beheaded, at 20?
Yeah.
Like, that's the wild part of it. It's like 20, not like he was 60, not that he was 42.
Yeah.
20. So like we always tell the kids that things get better. How do you even explain this?
I do think that there is some. I'm going back to the interview that Dwayne Wade did with his friends or whatever, and that whole conversation about like like the haters that come after his kids and whatever, and he took that opportunity to say, I thank you.
Yeah.
And I thank you for hating on this situation, because it's actually what it's doing, unbeknownst to you and whatever it is that you had in your heart, it's raising the conversation. And I think what the benefit that we have right now in 2021, when this is being recorded, is we have cameras and internet access that allow us to capture what's happening in real time. And like when you look at the Breonna Taylors, you look at the George Floyds, you look at this individual who was beheaded, it's horrendous what happened to them. And at the same time, the fact that these things are reported on and in most ways captured visually, that visual that you see, that 9 minutes and 18 seconds, like that sits with people and it changes people at their core so that they fight even harder. Yeah. And while as an individual, it's tough to like say, well, damn, he lost his life and he was like 28 years old and he had so much more to live and da 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 da. And then when you ratchet back out to the 50,000 foot view, it's like, now look at the national conversation, the global conversation that's happening, because we're not talking about it on our little podcast, but who else has been talking about what's happening there?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I always bring it back to people who choose to put faith over family. And that's something that has bothered me for the majority of my life, because I wasn't raised in that home, but I know that that's a privilege that I have, So I talk often about, because the vast majority of my friends had the complete opposite story from me. And I'm always troubled by these stories of we put God first. And my thing is that when you say you're putting God first, are you putting the God that you're taught about or the God that you actually cultivated a relationship with?
Right. Yeah.
Because
You
if
know
it's the
what?
God you cultivated a
They're not ready
relationship,
for that conversation.
right? Listen, because you're clearly operating off of the God that you were taught and told about. Because I was told my whole life that I needed to have a personal relationship with God.
Yeah.
And that personal relationship with God led me to who I am today.
Yeah, say that
So I'm
again.
like, I don't know what God you're talking to.
Ooh,
You to feel as though you need to behead your child.
that
Because
part.
at that point, we need to talk about, is it really God that you're talking to?
Thank you. Thank
I'm
you.
telling you, they're not ready for that conversation.
Thank you.
Listen, because my thing is that, we stand here in 2021 saying that there's no way that, these generations can feel the exact same way, but that's a lie. Because, anger and hate is passed down from generation to generation.
Yes.
And if somebody is susceptible to that hate that you pour into them, it's going to continue on to their kids as well.
100%.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
100%.
So it's like I was raised in a household where I was taught to question. And there are some people in my family that are like, you can't question. No, my mother was like, question God in a heartbeat. What? Like, you're supposed to question everything. If you don't question everything, you're going to walk blindly into anything.
Look, we at the end of the day, if you follow the scripture, we ate from the tree of the fruit of the tree of knowledge. So if we're not asking questions,
listen. But that's also a whole nother episode about how people play around with scripture all day. So
exactly. You nailed it. Like, I couldn't say it any better. Like I always, like I think what episode? Oh, we was on with Paleo and what's her name?
Oh yeah, Forbidden Apple.
Melissa.
Yes, Melissa. Thank you. And that's what I was trying to say that day too. I was like, you're supposed to find out like that relationship. You're supposed to build that relationship.
Yes.
Like
yes.
And that's the part that I've never understood when people, like you said, like, how are you saying I'm doing this in the name of God, but you're gonna behead a motherfucker?
Listen.
And I probably shouldn't have said motherfucker, but got my bad. I'm sorry, Lord. But
look, he didn't see you shit, so you can say whatever you.
So has, but I like to stay respectful. Sometimes he don't like you cussing, so I'm like, my bad. You told me you don't like me cussing. Okay, my bad. I'm gonna try to do better. I'm gonna try to do better.
I was actually wondering that earlier. I was like, wait, I've said SHIT like twice. I don't think any of them have cursed.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Oh, then we're not doing our job.
Right?
We need to step our game up.
Damn, fuck, titty, pussy, dick. Come on now, let's get this party started.
Facts. But okay, anytime. What time is it, by the way?
Ask
your
auntie.
Who has it this week?
I got it this week, and it's a long one. It's from Anonymous, and it says, long story short, my best friend has been in a long-term relationship with a woman for a while, but he is bisexual, only out to me, and I am gay. I know he isn't happy in his relationship, and recently our conversations have evolved to discussing casually of us being together, or him changing his unhappy living situation, or dropping everything and running off together as a joke, but there's a hint of seriousness to it. We tell each other we love each other, we have pet names for each other, and are truly best friends. I'm trying to have patience. I'm trying to be there for him while he figures this out. I know I am not making it easy on him, but I'm really struggling inside at this point. How do I navigate this? Something has to change, or I will begin to self-destruct. I think I need to walk away until he figures his situation out. Problem is, we went about building ourselves a friendship that is truly deep, and I can't leave him high and dry while he figures his problem out on his own.
We'll let Ray start that one.
She had to grab the beard. Look, she had to touch the beard on that one. She was like, ooh.
My thing is in situations like that, because often there's the whole conversation about is bisexuality a real thing and all of that kind of stuff. But I feel like we need to leave space for understanding that it is real. Excuse me. So, but then in that same space, it's like, okay, that can be a reality for you, but is that a reality that I need to exist in with you? You know? Mm-hmm. So it's like you have this situation that you're going through. And true, we have a connection, but maybe for now, this is all that I need to be for you. I need to be over here as this particular person, you know, because he's saying that we're friends. So it's like, okay, so I'm a friend of yours. There doesn't need to be anything else. Whatever it is that you have going on, when this is understood, when this is decided, then maybe we could come back to this again. But there's no need for confusion if we know that we have a foundation of friendship. And that even goes beyond just this situation. You know, people in general, oftentimes they feel the need to rush into something romantic when you can just be friends and cultivate that for a little while. Yeah. There's health in being friends with somebody you're romantically attracted to. So it's like, okay, let's go ahead and understand that sure, I could be attracted to you, but I desire your friendship more. So I'm going to go ahead and be a friend. To navigate. It is. It absolutely can be. It absolutely can be. But and is definitely all according to the person. It's all according to the person. So that would be my advice, but I would also understand if it is something that is difficult for him to do. However, if it's difficult for you to do, then I would say cut it.
That part you need.
Don't stay and attempt, you know, because karma's a bitch. And the last thing you want is to operate in this space and something comes back around to you. So either make a hard decision that I'm going to be your friend and that's all, or say you existed in my life for this particular chapter. It's time for me to turn the page.
Absolutely. That's what I was thinking. There's a time and place for everything. And clearly the timing is not now because that person hasn't dealt with themselves.
Yeah.
Like, and there's no reason for you to take that on. Like, I feel like they want to take this on. Yeah. It's like, we need to stop picking up everyone else's Louis Vuitton luggage. Yeah. To look pretty. Like, and that's right. It was Zara, but nope. Like not even H&M. But it's just like I get it. Like especially when it comes to like you loving somebody and liking somebody and things like that. Those feelings and emotions are for real. Those are heavy and they cloud a lot of shit. And you're like, oh, I could wait. I could, I could tolerate this. I could hang on for a little bit. Nobody got time. There's more dick in the sea, quite frankly. But like you said, cut it, make distinct barriers. You're going to have to, because you're going to get your heart broken, quite frankly. Yeah. And quite frankly, that person might get their heart broken as well.
Indeed.
So that person's not in the space right now, especially if they're in a long-term relationship. Hold on, let's see. Long story short, my best friend has been in a long-term relationship with a woman, but he's bisexual, and he hasn't told the long-term relationship. So why he telling you? That's a whole nother messy situation. He needs to go to her. That's his long-time boo. Like, so there's a lot he's got to work out. So maybe provide him that therapy.org or whatever it was earlier to get some help, because he's going to need to know how to navigate that. And quite frankly, you might need to go as well to unpack why you want to stay in that situation when it's not ideal for yourself. So maybe even determine what's ideal for yourself. If it's being with someone that's not going to be able to love you right now, okay, then so be it. But I doubt that's it.
Okay, do you want the old dogs to tap in, or do you want the short and sweet and black and white?
Whatever your heart desires.
What your spirit say.
Okay, I'll go. I do feel like there's a couple things that a lot of us found ourselves in these kind of situations. There's the hero complex, and there's ego at work. Hero complex meaning I can save them. And a lot of that
Yeah.
comes from like childhood trauma. Like, you know, there was no one there for me who could help
Don't
me,
say
like,
fuck.
you know, like,
You don't want to
you know,
be
like
safe.
navigate the waters of, you know, like coming into my sexuality and doing it in a loving and caring way. And I didn't have people around me. So I want to be that for somebody else. And so instinctually, you know, that old adage of you attract the energy that you put out. I feel like there's a little bit of that going on, like a little bit of like, what I don't want to do is discount the quality of the relationship that they have,
Right.
the friendship that they have, you know, but I also want to caution, because this is, in my opinion, this is like a young man's thinking, a young man in maturity thinking, because the reality of it is let's just say hypothetically, if this person, their friend who they, you know, have so much feelings for, etc., is bisexual and is in an unhappy relationship, when they, let's say hypothetically, they decide that they are going to, you know, like say to their girlfriend, their partner, whomever, that they want to, that they're bisexual, come out. B, I don't want to be in a relationship with a woman right now, because C, I want to be in a relationship with this person
That you had over for dinner last night.
Porsha. So so if we could fast forward this, if we could put this VCR tape into the tape deck and fast forward a little bit, we could see that the person that they're hitching their wagon to, the star that they're hitching their wagon to, is a person who's trying to find themselves. The problem of it is that you've been out, I'm assuming, for a while. You're comfortable with your sexuality. You're openly gay with this individual. The problem of it is they don't have that same level of comfort because they're clearly not telling their girlfriend. So the problem that you're going to run into is, even if, let's say, stars align, this person dumped his girlfriend and wants to be with you, guess what? It's likely, not always, but likely going to be a temporary thing, because this one is going to want to figure out who he is. That may be with you or without you. And you are putting so many of your groceries into this cart, you know, that you want to be the savior of this particular person, not recognizing that there is still a lot of work that this person is going to have to figure out. And so are you going to be along for that journey? Are you the type of person that, like, you know, like, I love what you said, Raven, earlier when you talked about, like, your openness to, like, the confines of relationships and being polyamorous, or being, you know, like being in an open relationship. Like, I think that's really healthy, because a person that will be in this kind of situation has to be ready for however this other individual is going to evolve.
Absolutely.
Once they decide to make the step to be with, let's say, to accept themselves, not be with this woman, assuming that's what they want, and then they want to hitch their wagon to you, the question of it is, it's going to be, what is that going to look like 6 months from now? When they're kind of like feeling their oats and they're like, oh yeah, you know what, I wanna see what else is out there. So now you have put all your groceries into this cart, you know, for somebody that has been your best friend, your bestie, the person that you have saved from the clutches of the punani.
Of the closet.
Only to find out that this person says, you know what, let's just be friends because I want to explore.
Yep.
You already about to self-destruct? Girl, you already on the edge? You really going to self-destruct then.
You know what I mean? So like, in my mind, this is a person who, and no shade to Anonymous. No shade to Anonymous. Yeah. This is the person who hasn't really thought it through. I believe that your heart is in the right place, because trust me, I've been in a similar situation. I know what the feelings are like. To want to be the savior for somebody, and the idea of what that means is so powerful that you're willing to give it your all, because you know what that could do for that person. But in reality, in the real world,
it's slim. It's slim.
You might have 3 weeks of bliss.
He said 3 weeks. That's a tough.
Maybe.
Because I mean,
I was gonna say 3 weeks. Been a little generous.
let him find some gay websites. Let the pandemic be over, and he go out to some clubs. Let him go to Puerto Vallarta.
Let him go to Bulldogs one night.
Right.
Let him go on a swinging Richards. Let him experience life.
He gonna see Mustang up there and be like, damn.
Damn.
He gonna be looking at you like, what am I doing with you?
Say a whole word. Say a whole word on this thing.
I mean, honestly, y'all said everything that I could ever even think of. Like, honestly, all of it across the board. Tens across the board. Because you're all absolutely right. Like, honestly, it just sounds like a recipe for disaster. And I think you just need to remove yourself from the situation. Go figure out, your issues and deal with you parting from this. Because honestly, it sounds like you like that heroism that you talked about. Like, it sounds like you have feelings from the wrong place. Because if it was friendship, then you would have been able to like, I'm good. Like, you wouldn't be talking about distress. You wouldn't talk about I need to leave. But because you're talking about destructing, you need to leave, it tells me that you are emotionally invested, not on friendship. So this whole part when it said, oh, we've created a deep friendship. That's not a deep friendship, boo-boo. That's when you like somebody, you got strong feelings for someone. Exactly. And that is not what's good for you. So you need to exit and go handle that. And he needs to come out because they are absolutely true. Take it from the gatekeeper herself. Okay.
This one right here. Listen to these words.
Mother gatekeeper.
She has been there and done that. Okay. And she has her usher gloves ready to lead them on in, okay? She has done it.
You got the collection plate.
Okay,
you got the collection
girl.
plate.
Look, okay? Look, walking behind. Come on, baby. Come on. Right
Spit that gum out.
Let them right onto the pew, okay? Look, they know where they see it.
Not the gum.
Handing out programs and everything.
I know that's right. Got the MLK fan. Come on, I
know.
I know.
Malcolm Jamal Warner fan.
Right, the Malcolm Jamal Warner fan.
I can't with y'all.
But it is so true. Every single person I've ever been with has never been out. I track them.
You track that energy.
I don't know why, and I think it's because of that whole. This person seems so confident in who they are, and so they are drawn to me, and then I find myself getting wrapped up in them, and then not thinking about the consequences of them not being out, and you start having to navigate those feelings. It's work. No, don't do it.
I will like, and it can work, but you got to know that it's going to be a lot of work.
Yes.
And you have to be stable in your own emotions. You got to be stable in who you know you are to be. And from the sounds of it doesn't seem like you're quite there yet. So continue to work on that first. Because like if it sounded a little more confident in the way it was framed, there's potential there. But if the emotional part of it to me, just the way it was framed, doesn't seem like you're quite there yet. And again, I started off saying there's a time and a place. Work on yourself. Let him work on himself. You never know what the future holds. You might meet each other at another point where it's working. But for right now, you're going to have to build those barriers and those walls. Work on yourself. Try other dudes. There's a lot of good stuff out there, let me tell you.
It's a no for me right now, dog.
I love what you said, Carell, because that actually made me think of a really, really important thing that this person that Anonymous needs to think about. The person that they are willing to hitch their wagon to has been lying to their longtime partner for how long? About who they are, what's important to them, what they want, etc. And although they're sharing those things with you, how you get them is how you lose them. You know what I mean? So like, I want to encourage you. And listen, to Carell's point and to everybody's point, listen, there is a possibility that this could be, look, you guys could be soulmates, through the reincarnations of your spirit existing throughout, all time and space. You could have found yourselves in this situation and found, that you connect. And then for the next 40 years, 50 years, whatever you have left on this earth, you could be together. The chances of that happening is like 0.0000001.
Not the 0.001.
So like, it's not to say that it's impossible because I don't want you to give up hope, but I also want you to walk on real street. Like walk on real street. Like think about what it was like for you to come out. Think about how many ugly ass frogs you had to kiss.
And ugly ass penises.
And penis or assholes.
All the above.
Come on, dirty ass assholes. Like, think about that.
That's a real
that
statement.
it took for you to find.
How is that a real
truth.
statement? Time out.
Hold on,
that better not be that better not be
you-
nobody's. First of all, she don't lick no booty holes. Okay,
That's right. See,
Well, I mean,
so
a whole different situation.
That's one. But two, if I did, it won't be dirty.
Well, sometimes you don't know
That's
until you're down there.
Like I said last week,
I've been made some
better
mistakes.
Take your ass home.
I made
and
some
get
mistakes.
in the shower. You better do a whole bath or something, bitch.
I'm not going to shy away from the fact that sometimes the drive.
I never dingleberry. That's a wrap.
But sometimes you don't know until you taste it.
Pause. Wait. No. See, I had to learn this lesson. I learned this lesson as a teen. It was a dude I was about to go down on. I don't know. It must have been God that made me be like, pause. Cut in the light real quick. Shit. I was like, okay, bet. All right. Took him to the bathroom. Cleaned his ass for him. Because, I mean, it's what I'm going to be eating, what I'm going to be sticking in. So, so moving forward, like no joke, and I've had some dudes who have been offended by me. I'm washing your ass for you. Like real talk. Like I'm taking you in the bathroom. Gonna go ahead. We're gonna clean, and
that's a life lesson.
I'm cleaning.
That is a life lesson.
You know how like at Sunday school you would read the Bible verse and then you would have to talk about what the life lesson is from that Bible verse, and then you have to apply that Bible verse for the rest of the week.
Right.
You just saved. I mean, I don't know what your body count is. But you might have saved the generation, boo.
Right. That's a real ass statement. But that's why we also always end our show with wash your hands, wash your legs, wash your ass. We've been trying to tell you for hundreds of episodes. Shit.
I'm just going to tell you, I come correct.
We end every damn episode to wash your hands, your legs, and your ass. And you still ain't washing your ass.
Hygiene was an point, okay? No, she would never.
But let's be clear. Let's be clear. Back in the day when we were young and trying to figure things out, there wasn't a manual. We didn't know what we didn't know. Back when we was no, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm not saying I was
that
part
wasn't
of
in Leviticus 7:13.
Leviticus.
Send your damn question to AYA@minorityReport.com or DM us.
Okay, we're going to have to put that on a t-shirt. Leviticus. Wash your hands, wash your legs, wash your hands.
Right. Wash your hands, wash your legs, wash your ass. Leviticus 4:19.
That was my bad for thinking that I could wear a turtleneck with y'all.
She didn't listen to enough episodes. Right. She might have caught last week's. Right. She might have caught last week's when we were letting the guests do all the talking.
You're right.
Woo!
Oh, Jesus. Did y'all catch the latest episode of Pose? Episode 3?
Yes.
Yo, you haven't done one. Oh, damn. See, she about to be late like the community.
Look, I decided I don't really care to watch the rest of the season.
Okay.
Now I'm not saying I'm not going to, but I don't care if I do. You know what I'm saying?
I would say episode 3 was a little better than the first 2 episodes.
Was it?
I would say episode 3 makes it, because I would have stopped too if I was you. But episode 3 absolutely made up for it.
Okay.
I heard Elektra was amazing. Dominique Jackson.
Oh, and I think he froze a little bit.
Yeah, I heard she was really good. I didn't see episode 3 yet myself, just because I've been between the 2 jobs.
Okay,
I haven't had the time. I just she's been keeping her head on her shoulders.
I hear you.
But I've been seeing the posts, and the girls were living for her this episode, especially with her mom or something like that.
Because I heard that it was a backstory about Elektra.
Yes,
it was a
it's
little bit of a
backstory
backstory
about Elektra. And I mean, she's
What
still
did you think,
she's
Terrell?
still Elektra. Like, so the acting is still maybe not the best, but
Move out of my way, darling.
right, it's very still, but it's a little less of it, which made you actually feel a little more. You're like, oh shit, hold on, I'm actually feeling for Elektra right now.
Okay.
So the episode 3 was definitely better than the first 2 episodes. We'll leave it at that then, if you haven't watched it yet.
I used to not be able to take her seriously, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And then with this episode, I was like, okay, it's about to end, but I can actually take it seriously now.
It's over now.
Right, 70 episodes later, okay.
I do feel like the thing that is confusing for me, because I saw the first 2 episodes and obviously I watched the whole season, and you know how I already feel about Ryan Murphy. So
hashtag blame Ryan Murphy.
Right. But you know, I'm struggling a little bit with where is her character positioning in this universe that they have created. Because if you think about like the first 2 episodes with how she's like, they're sitting at the dinner table talking about, oh, we're gonna have like an intervention for Angel, and or not intervention for Pray Tell, and meanwhile Angel needs an intervention as well, or whatever.
Right.
Nobody can see that or whatever, and she's just sitting there in her fur, like.
I think this episode will help you a lot more.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's sitting over there in my DVR.
I know, literally, I watched it right before we hopped on. Like, I was like finishing up work, had it in the background. I was like, okay, just in case. I was like, I don't want to be the one that don't watch it, but damn, y'all ain't seen it. I should have texted because I was so rushing to get it in. I was like, okay.
What I do appreciate is, from a cinematic perspective and from a storytelling perspective, that they are taking the time in the last season to give us the backstory of some of these characters. Because I think they spent so much time on not Angel, but the main character,
Damon,
Blanca.
Oh, Blanca.
They've been so focused around her journey. It's kind of like the epicenter of like this universe that they have created. It's interesting to see the backstory of these other people, especially someone like Elektra, who has so much bite to her, and has so much, for lack of a better term, electricity about her. And what I will say is, although her acting chops do deserve a little refinement, what she does bring to that character is a sense of authenticity.
Yes.
So even though I don't like her affectation in terms of how she pronounces things and how like the language that is being used, she does, like, you believe that that's her.
Right.
Yeah.
That is a testament of, it's like when you hate a character. When you hate a character so much, like that it grates on like your soul.
Yeah.
That's some damn good acting. Like that they
Absolutely.
can make you hate them. So I appreciate that.
One of the things that I wanted to say about the scenes with her mother, the reason why I think it not only hit me, but really hit the audience, were the nuances.
Yes.
Like when I put on my Facebook, my Instagram story about accents and how people try to act like they don't have accents. We all have accents.
Yeah.
Right.
And one of the things that I loved about what happened between she and her mom, and Corral, I'm not sure if you noticed this, but when she would have arguments with her mother, her accent became very thick.
Yes.
Really thick.
Yes.
And I was like, I wonder if everybody's noticing this because it's so real. You know? So I was like, I don't know if it was just something that was natural with the actress or if they actually put that in there for it to happen. But either way, I was like, that was such a real moment and something that actually takes place with family when it's someone you're close to. So it's just, it's little things like that.
I agree. I think, I doubt they put it in there. I think it's finally, she probably kind of let go.
Right.
Because no, I know there was a certain word and I said I was going to write it down. I didn't. Like when she was kind of like, I don't want to give too much away. Anyway, but she said a certain word that was like, oh damn, that accent came through, boo.
Right.
But then it made it more realistic.
It did.
And you're just like, okay, I'm liking this episode.
Was her mother? Did they play off of her her ethnic background in terms of like her mother coming from the Caribbean or coming from?
Her mother had like a little accent too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she looked like it was like Carmen, the lady that played Carmen Sandiego, the chief.
Oh, really?
He did.
Right?
He did. That is very true.
I was like, is this a chief from Carmen Sandiego? I need to look that up. I was like, damn, where's she been at?
Wait a minute, what was her name? Like CCH Pounder or something like that?
Oh, I'm gonna go. Alexa? The chief in Carmen Sandiego.
So the question, while you're looking that up, the question I want to know is, Raven, when are we all need to, I know I say this on every podcast, but like, when are we all going to get together? Because knowing the fact that you were in Atlanta, like, we need to make this, we need to have our own real Black people a podcast reunion happen in real motherfucking life. For
That's
real.
true.
Absolutely. I'll take you all up to Stone Mountain with me. We'll go to the top.
I ain't going to Stone Mountain no more. No more. I had this argument with somebody recently. I was like, until they change this shit, I am not going to them Confederate grounds. Fuck that.
Okay, so I'll make the same argument that I made to my partner, because my partner, he was sweet enough to go up with me once. He said he was never going again.
I don't blame him.
So this is how I explained to him. That land isn't racist. The people are. The land did nothing to us. The people did. When I go to that mountain, it is far more Black people than it is white.
For sure.
You know? Surrounding the actual area, there are more Black people than there are white. True, they go and they march up there, but the whole point is that shit is ours, you know? That shit belongs more to Black people.
Until they put Outcasts on that fucking mountain, it ain't ours. And it ain't
You know what?
Until they put Nene Leaks on that fucking mountain. But no, I get what you're saying. But like, here's the thing. I moved here 4 years ago. And
I moved here 4 years ago too.
Okay, you know what? We're gonna do brunch and shit.
See, you know, like,
we're gonna go to Atlanta.
Bringing the community together.
Absolutely. But no, Corey took me. My husband took me there because they had some kind of like antique show there, and I was like, okay. So I go there, and like I've always heard of Stone Mountain. Like my mom and dad are from Georgia. I have cousins, relatives all throughout the city. So finally, I'm just bored. So I'm like Googling. I'm like, okay, what is Stone Mountain? Like, why is it Stone? Like, I know it's a Stone Mountain. And then like we get up to closer. I'm like, I see like the Confederate. I'm like, on. So literally, I'm like sitting there Googling. I'm like, where the fuck do you have me at? I was like, eat it. So, you know what the hell this shit is?
So this is the mistake that I would say that you made. One looking it up because I don't mess
going to an antique show. That was the mistake I made.
But yes, and seeing anything other than the mountain, like actually up where the mountain is, like going around the corner where the whole mural or whatever it's called is. I tell people you need to stay far away from there. There's an entrance called the Westgate entrance. Okay, if you enter at the Westgate, literally all you'll see is the walk up. You won't see anything else. If you see anything else, it'll ruin the whole experience.
Literally, you'll be in your feelings.
Yes.
Because
the whole time.
You're like, you don't make this. It's like literally the biggest Confederate monument in the world. Like this shit is massive.
Yeah, Robert E. Lee is ginormous on that thing.
And I was like, no, I'm good. And then they still arguing about, oh, well, it wasn't really Confederate. Bitch, yes, the fuck it was.
Yeah.
Like, made a whole carbon. It is Confederate grounds. Fuck that.
I still want to know how they did that. Like that thing is massive.
That shows you how bad they had the black people. They had all the damn time to carve that shit. They had a lot of time. That show you they really hated black people.
Right. they had dedication to hate. Right.
They didn't have no like ropes and shit up today.
To hate. See, you know
literally. No, won't catch me out there.
But no, we definitely all have to get together. That would be fun.
For
that would be a lot of fun.
But before I forget too, what is your socials that you could tell them? What day does your podcast come out and all that stuff? Where can they find you?
So the most important social to give you all right now is psychologytoday.com. Damn. Damn.
She said because y'all need help. You that community. She said
you ain't gonna read me all episode.
So go here, psychology.com.
That was for Jarrell's ass trying to be smart. Wasn't leaving here without that. Okay. So next is for the podcast, the Healing Space podcast this week, actually today, well, on the day that we're recording this. My guest is Imani Van Zap. She is my guest, and I think you all will truly enjoy that episode. She and I, drop a lot of gems, have a lot of laughs over drinks, and it's just a really good episode. That is wearetlm.com, WEARETLM. On Twitter, it is _THS Podcast. On Facebook and Instagram, it's at THS Podcast. For me, that would be Scorpiogi across all platforms. Branding is important. SCORPIYOGI. And what else is there? Is that everything? I think that's everything. Yeah, it's so many other things. Oh, if anybody who is interested in the yoga journey, that is the Love Movement. And so I'll make this real simple. For the Love Movement, you can find that on the same website, wearetlm.com. Or if you want to see me and all of my students flowing together on Instagram, that is at wearetlm. Bam.
Perfect. Told you he got 15 jobs.
Yeah.
Busy. Right? Booked and busy. But we appreciate you taking the time to be on here with us. We really do. We can't wait to kiki on your podcast as well.
Absolutely.
Be on the lookout for that. And we'll have you back, and we'll meet in real person. Especially now I'm all vaccinated and shit. I'm leaving these.
Listen. we have to have more conversations. We're not done talking about Malcolm Jamal Warner. So
there is more to unpack.
Right.
Between him and Porsha.
You're right on that. Oh man, but community, hopefully you're staying safe. Hopefully you're getting vaccinated. And until next time, wash your hands, wash your legs, wash your ass.
I